Hi guys, a little bit something different for today's video. I have in front of me 6 cards that are in Yu-Gi-Oh! That I use in my main Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck. Today I am going to show what I do when I take on my roommate, and basically this strategy that I endowed. So I'm going to go over these 2 cards right here. One of them is named Azure Eyes Silver Dragon, and his effect is, when this card is special summoned, Dragon-type monsters you currently control cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects until the end phase of the next turn. Once per turn, during your standby phase, you can target one normal monster in my graveyard and summon that target. So this card basically helps me get other dragons out. Now as for Blue Eyes Spirit, he has a bit of a different effect. I'm gonna see if you guys can read that. You can pause the video if you need to. Basically, it's adding special summoning other sync cards from the extra deck. So those are 2 cards that I use. And if you're wondering where I got this awesome focus, where I got this awesome Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel mat, I got it out of the Millennium Duelists box. But now on to these 4 cards. Most of you fans of Yu-Gi-Oh! Know of the top 3. Those of you that have not seen the bottom card, it is the White Stone of Legend. This card allows me to, when it's sent to the graveyard, I can add 1 Blue Eyes from my deck to my hand. So it's a good way of getting Blue Eyes into your hand. I'm going to take some cards out of my deck. Okay, I'm gonna cut until I get to a card I would like to show. Okay, so in front of me I have a bunch of spells and a monster. I'm gonna go through each of the spell cards that I have on this duel mat right now, and I've got 1 trap card that I will go over in the video as well. First off, Kaiba Man. This card came out of the Seto Kaiba starter deck. Basically his effect, if it'll focus. Come on. Focus. Come on. See if it'll focus over here. Come on, focus. You contribute this face-up card and special summon 1 Blue Eyes from my hand. So basically, this card is a good way of getting this guy out. And I have 2 of these guys. So, good way of getting Blue Eyes out. Now, let's say your Blue Eyes is somewhere in your deck and you do not know how to get it. There is an easy combination I like to call the Dragon Shrine Reincarnation combo. So basically, I'm just going to grab a random card from my deck. So I'm just going to grab a random card, which in this case I'm using Dragon's Rebirth. So let's go with Dragon Shrine. Basically, those of you that don't know this effect, basically I can send 1 normal monster or 1 normal dragon or an effector dragon, but I preferably like to use normal monsters, i.e. Blue Eyes White Dragon. So I use Dragon Shrine. So let's say this is in my hand, and then I have these 2 dragon types somewhere in the deck. So Dragon Shrine allows me to send one to the graveyard, and if that monster in your graveyard is a dragon type normal monster, you can send 1 more dragon type, i.e. Blue Eyes White Dragon. So now this is where this random card comes into play. I would activate Monster Reincarnation. This card would go to the graveyard. And then I can discard 1 card to add Blue Eyes White Dragon to my hand. So let's say I had let's say these 3 cards are in my hand. Malevolent Nuzzler and 2 Blue Eyes White Dragons. I have on the field, for example, a Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon and White Stone of Legend, but his effect cannot be activated, so what I would do is I would tribute these 2 to bring out a Blue Eyes White Dragon, as you guys probably know. But where does Malevolent Nuzzler come into play? It is an equip spell, as you can tell by if it'll focus. Focus. Basically, it has this little plus thing. It's an equip spell. And if it'll focus, it says it gives it 700 attack. And I can pay 500 life points to put this at the top of my deck. So once this Blue Eyes leaves the field, I can pay 500, put it on the top of my deck. So that's a couple strategies I use to get my Blue Eyes on the field. So there's one more. Now I'm going to do another cut and show you how I get the Blue Eyes out again. Okay, back again. So now I have more spells and more traps to go over. So you're probably wondering what these 3 cards have to do with summoning the Blue Eyes. These 2 right over here, these 2 I'm going to get over, and this is a good way on screwing your opponent up if they find a way to get rid of it. These 2 spell cards are another ways to turn the tide in your favor. Bottomless Trap Hole, good for getting rid of monsters that you don't want on the field on your opponent's side. So these 5 cards I will go over in depth and put it into a scenario. So those of you that know what Call of the Haunted does, it allows you to summon a monster from your graveyard into face-up attack or defense position. Let's say my Blue Eyes was in the graveyard and I special summoned him to get my Blue Eyes back out. And I have a second one to get my Blue Eyes out. Now, let's say that you have put like Jar of Avarice, and you put you had like 10 cards in your graveyard, and you put those back in. So I don't have Jar of Avarice in this deck, but my friend Dakota does, and we'll be doing a duel on that later. But these 4 cards. But so let's say your opponent wants to destroy one of your Blue Eyes. This card, Offerings to the Doomed, is a quick play. So I could play that during my opponent's turn, and it will destroy the target. But this is how I determine its second effect. I put it on top of my deck because it would be missing my next draw phase. So let's say the next turn comes, I miss my draw phase, put that in the graveyard again. But then these guys. Mirror Force, Fiendish Change, Bottomless Trap Hole, and Mystical Space Typhoon. These are some of my 4 favorite spell and trap cards. So let's go over Mystical Space Typhoon and tell you how it works to my advantage. So Mystical Space Typhoon, if you guys already know it already, this card allows you to destroy a spell trap card your opponent controls. Good way of getting cards that you don't want out on your opponent's field. I'll give an example of one card that my roommate has used against me. Burden of the Mighty. That's a good way of getting that card off the field. But he has Jar of Avarice, and if I've said before, allows him to put 5 cards back into the deck, reshuffle. So let's move these 4 off to the side, because that's what we're done with that. So now we got Mirror Force, Fiendish Chain, and Bottomless Trap Hole. These 3 Okay, so Mirror Force, for those of you that know, opponent's monster declares an attack, destroy all monsters your opponent controls. Good way of getting monsters out of the field. Feed is chained, target an effect monster, cannot attack, effects are negated. Bottomless trap hole, if a monster is summoned that has a 1500 attack or more, banish that target. So that's a good card to have as well. But there's only one more card that I want to go over before I end this video. And it has to do something with the blue eyes. Actually, two cards. So we all know that Blue Eyes is my favorite monster card in the entire franchise of Yu-Gi-Oh! And as you can see, this is Kaiba's version. The original from the anime. So let's say we bring this card into the fold. This is called Majesty with Eyes of Blue. Basically, I can send a Blue Eyes from my hand or deck to the graveyard and target one monster my opponent controls, which I'll use, for example, Azure Eyes. Let's say my opponent has Azure Eyes on the field, and I know that I have nothing on the field. All of my monsters are in the graveyard, and everything is in my graveyard. So he has that on the field, and all I have is Majesty with Eyes of Blue. So what I would have to do is, let's say I sent a Blue Eyes to the graveyard. Boop, he's gone. So what would I do? Basically, I can target that. It cannot attack while it's face up on the field. And also, that would be a good thing. Also, another one of my favorite cards, Burst Stream of Destruction. And this goes for the Blue Eyes. If you activate this while you have a Blue Eyes on the field, all monsters my opponent controls would be destroyed. But there's one more card that I would like to show you. I will be right back. Now, this card, it is Draconis Corrupted Nether Soul Dragon. This card is not well known. Not many decks have this because it is requiring, come on, focus. It requires one dark tuner and one other non-tuner dragon types. So what's cool about this card is that, let's say opponent has a face down defense position monster, and I want to get to his life points. Let's say he has like 2,000 life points. He attacks. Not only will it go to the graveyard, his effect allows him to attack a second time. It's a good way of getting other attacks down. So, boom, you would attack my opponent directly. I love this card with passion. So that's pretty much it for this video. I just wanted to go over some stuff for all those Yu-Gi-Oh fans out there, and that want to find a couple cards to put in their deck. And that's basically my video for today, and I will have another one out either tomorrow or on Tuesday or on Wednesday.